Hello, friends. Welcome to JK Sports India YouTube channel. And this is a very special chat show. With me is none other than the superstar of Indian women's cricket, if I can say, Mithali Raj, who has had batting records that one can think of in this game. And she has also captained India in 4 World Cups from 2005 to 2022. This is special because it is just before the start of the World Cup, which is going to be held in India and Colombo. India take on Sri Lanka in their first match in Guwahati, and Mithali Raj is going to be present there as among other roles as the broadcaster. Mithali, how have you been post retirement? And I somehow get a feeling that you're getting busier and busier post your retirement. Is that a fair thinking on my side? Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you for the welcome, Krishna. And I think that's pretty much the thinking even my parents, especially my mother, feels so that I've become far more busier as a post-retirement than what I was as a player. But I think God has been very kind to me and still keeps me busy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, there has been a movie made of you, and among other things, there is also your chapter on this ICSE Class 8 English textbook,
Okay.
isn't it? I was also
That
brought to,
that was I wasn't aware of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So somebody brought to my notice, and actually an interview that was done with you a few years ago, and they have put it with the story of Mithali Raj and what students can learn from your life story. So that's something which is again a remarkable thing among, of course, your so many cricketing achievements. The World Cup is ahead. It's just about it's starting on Tuesday. Your initial thoughts on India hosts. How are they going into this World Cup, and how prepared are they?
Well, I think if you've been following the way the Indian team has been doing in the last couple of years, barring the T20 World Cup, especially in this format, I've been actually commentating since this year, beginning of this year. They've played Ireland and they've traveled to Sri Lanka for a tri-series, then to England. They had a very successful England tour, and then they've played at home Australia just before last week.
Right.
So I think they've preparation wise they've been good. Um, uh, all the core players have been in form. Yes, someone like Renuka is coming from an injury, from a break, but the way she made a comeback against Australia in that series, and then we've been following this practice games as well. She's been doing well. And Kranti Gaud, the youngster who got picked from the WPL this season, and then she's made quite an impact in England series, picking up 6 wickets for a seamer. And of course, we do have a very experienced spin attack, if I may say. Like, of course, Deepthi has been with the team, Sneha in and out, but since her comeback, she's been really strong and performing. Radha Yadav and Charni from Andhra as well. Um, I think India's plus is, of course, their batting. They do have depth in their batting, and now I think the other girls have started to perform. Like earlier, it was only Smriti or Harman. We would expect them to perform and take the team forward, but then Jemmy has come into the role of playing deep into the innings, or Richa Ghosh, pretty impactful cameos that she plays, especially the order that she comes. And Deepthi has really worked on her strike rate as well. I've seen that in the last couple of series where the order that she comes, she's definitely improved. And so there has been good improvement, especially in this format. um and so I would say that yes, playing against Australia and playing quite well in England, India definitely is going into this World Cup are one of the favorites, along with Australia and England. Yeah.
Right. So we have Pratika Rawal and Smriti Mandana at the top of the order. You think they have settled down, and their start, of course, will be very, very crucial in this World Cup?
Well, see, India, since the time Pratika joined Smriti as a opening pair, they've really notched up a lot of runs, and quite often they've given good starts to the Indian team in the first 10 overs, whether it is Smriti taking the charge or sometimes Pratika taking the charge. Um, but I think in the last series, I've seen Smriti really doing well. I mean, she's been in that sort of a form, where every game she is performing and with pretty dominant start to her batting innings. Pratika, on the other side, both are very different players. I mean, it would be inappropriate for me to sort of compare also, because Pratika is pretty new into the side, and Smriti has is one of the pros in the team. But the way she has a pretty level-headed, the sort of balance that you want for a young player who's just got into the team. Pratika Rawal has made use of every opportunity that was given to her, and she's someone has been scoring runs consistently. So yes, and she's given that stability right at the top for India.
And the performances of other batters would allow Smriti and Harman to relax a bit, though one can't relax in a World Cup. But then that should be encouraging, isn't it, for Smriti and Harman, that others are also contributing, and the team is not entirely dependent on these two senior pros.
Yes, I think finally you can say that the Indian team is not dependent on any one single player. There is a capability that Jemmy can play, that she's played that innings, or Harleen, who usually comes at number three, at least what I've seen in the last few ODIs. She might start a little slow, but then she does stitch up those partnerships with, say, Harman or one of the openers. And even Richa has gained a lot of experience since the time she has made a debut, since the last World Cup, if I may say so. But also the fact that the bowlers are also able to contribute, which for the longest time we've not had bowlers who would score about 30 odd runs, whereas Sneh Rana does that. Amanjot, whenever she got an opportunity, we've seen like the 2030s that she's contributed. So yes, I think that's a bit of a different change to this team, is that you can still expect someone like Sneh Rana to play that supporting role if Deepthi is around, or if one of the top order batter is around playing in those death overs. You know that your bowlers are very much capable of supporting you to finish the innings.
Right, and this World Cup in India, of course, there will be the pressure from all corners, the expectations being a home World Cup. How is this team equipped to handle that pressure and the outside noise? We heard in the build up to the World Cup, say the 50-day countdown to the World Cup, Yuvraj Singh saying shut out all the outside noise, shut out the media. Will that really work, or is it just it's easier said than done?
We'll see. There will be pressure. I mean, if you're saying that you don't want to be in a situation where there's no pressure, I think it isn't worth, pursuing that, because there will be pressure, because it's a hard job. But the girls have really, I mean, since the WPL, all these girls have a very different approach to tournaments, to the games, because when you play a lot of games the run up to the marquee event, you are backing yourself with preparation. That confidence is very different to when you don't really get that many games before the World Cup, and you don't know if your preparation is good enough. From what little media interactions or interviews that I've seen of the girls, they come across pretty confident. Yes, it all depends on that particular day. I mean, World Cup, irrespective of playing at home or anywhere else, you know that the entire world is watching the players, so that expectation would be there, irrespective of the venue that you're playing. But yes, in India, it's come after, say, about what, 12 years or something. Yeah. So the last we played was 2013, and 2013 was pretty different to what it is now. There's a lot of promotion happening. The World Cup trophy tour happening every city. That I don't know if it happened in 2013. You see a lot of promotional events happening on television, on social media. So there is a lot of buzz about this tournament this time around at home. So yes, then it definitely will grab a lot more eyes when you step onto the field. Um, what Yuvraj Singh said, if it is practiced much before the tournament starts, it makes sense because you know you're in that habit. But if you're going to start at the start of the tournament, then it gets very difficult to follow that. So if the girls have started to do that a series before, that would be good. Having said that, it will still be there. That pressure will be there, but one should find a way to zone out when you just take on the field. Just for everybody it works very differently. I'm sure in 2022 we had a sports psychologist traveling with us, so
Mm.
maybe they might be having sessions, or they might be having someone in the support staff that they can talk to, and ease that tension or those early nerves of getting into a marquee event.
Yes, indeed, the world was watching in 2017, India versus England final. So near yet so far.
Mhm.
What lessons can India learn from that final and the World Cup, and and get better in this World Cup?
See, I think it's been 4 years, Krishnan, and this team has really progressed, especially in this format. I don't think they should look in the past, or even what the series they've played. This is a fresh tournament. They have to go one game at a time, because that's what every team pretty much follows, that template. Because ODI World Cups, the schedule is such that there's so much of travel. You play on different conditions, different venues. Sometimes you get a lot more days between the games, which ideally none of the players would want, because if you're in good momentum, you don't want such a long break. But it happened to be like that. Sometimes the scheduling is such. Um, and then you're playing different opponents. It's not like a bilateral series where you play an opponent for 3 games or 5 games. So every game, different conditions, different venue, different surface, different opponent. So and the one day World Cups probably go beyond like two weeks. That's precisely what T20 World Cup is. Within 2 weeks, you're done with the T20 World Cup. But one day World Cup goes beyond that. And for a player to keep up the endurance, just not the physical endurance, but even the mental endurance, because when you play high intensity games, you want to get better, you want to come back to the next game 100%. So every player also would be working in that. So the challenge is for everyone. And it's always easy to break down your goal to one game at a time. So that's how the Indian team should also go, take it forward in this tournament.
Yeah, and this World Cup is about 5 weeks, which is easily
Yeah.
definitely more than two and a half, about 2.5 times more than the T20 World Cup. What challenges in terms of the opponents that you see India will be facing, in terms of the opponents, in terms of some of the players from the opposition countries? What challenges do you think India will be up against?
Well, see, every team looks up to Australia as the team to beat in World Cups, because they have a very good numbers and percentage when it comes to the World Cups. Um, England also, yes, England probably was in a phase of transition in the last year and a half, but having the coach who's also, a World Cup champion, I'm sure she has a lot of plans coming into India, because she's been part of Mumbai franchisee in WPL, so she's seen at least some of the players up close. And the challenge. Uh, I would say that, yeah, India has a very different approach, surely, with the composition of the team, because we've seen, even I've seen with the Australian side, is when you have so many options, sometimes you don't know what to do. Getting the right people at the right time is so important. Um, So for India it's very important, like, having a good side. But if you don't pick the right 11, then the result might not be what you want. So India should be looking to pick the right 11 for every game. um, and we probably will be seeing a lot more games above 300,
Mhm.
300 plus, but from somewhere between 3 to 350, unless we get again a surface like a flat deck like what we got to see in Delhi, where you can imagine a team which has real depth and power hitters can actually take it to 400. But I'm looking at this tournament where every team is looking to put up a target around 350 and also looking to chase that down. That means to say the wickets have to be really good. So that gets a challenge, just not to India, for the rest of the teams as well. How are they going to manage their bowlers? Because it's definitely going to be a batting friendly wicket. So every team is stacked up with a lot of batters, at least the top four, five teams. I can tell that they bat deep, and every team has also equipped themselves with spinners, knowing that it is happening in subcontinent in India. So they think the spinners will also play an important part. So every team has those spin variety in the team. So how do they use those spinners is going to be a challenge on the surface.
Yeah, speaking about spinners, India have four of them. Do you think we lack a leg spinner because three are off spinners and one is a left arm spinner, or you think that's good enough to keep the opposition silent?
Well, see, Krishnan, I think you pick a side from the best lot that you have. So if you don't have someone of that level, we do have potential players who are leg spinners. But if they think that they're better off with the quality of spinner than someone who's not up to that level as a leg spinner in the skill, then you would want to pick a quality bowler. So
Right.
I would say that if they don't have a leg spinner, then this is the best that they could do. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, you spoke about Australia and the record that they have. 7 out of 12 previous World Cups they have won. 3 out of 3 in India that India has hosted World Cup, Australia have won.
Mm-hmm.
So what should India and other teams be doing to keep Australia quiet?
Well, I think I'm sure every team is not going to sort of play or put pressure on themselves that they're playing Australia, because um, since the 2017 or 2022 World Cup, we've seen that in the last at least 4 5 years, the gap between the Australia and the other teams have narrowed. It could be because of the leagues and the exposure every player gets from different countries. That so when they play them more in the nets and playing along with them, sort of understanding the game and how they think. So that sort of narrowed that gap. And it's not like you cannot beat Australia, but yes, the less you need to sort of um you can't afford to slip as often as you can with the other teams and expect to make a comeback, because Australia, they just need one small gap to just get into the game. Like I've seen that game, yeah, even the first ODI and in New Chandigarh, and even the Delhi ODI, when India started off well and one run out and Australia just got into the game and they didn't let it go. They're pretty strong in that chokehold sort of a situation with the teams. So if you have the game on you, if you have the momentum, make sure that you're retaining it for the longest time. That's the way that you can sort of beat Australia, is that don't give them or don't slip up. The mistakes, you have to sort of really narrow it down.
Is that what makes Australia perhaps the strongest team, that they tend to cash in on those small the things that other teams let go? Or there must be more to it than just these small things, isn't it?
I think the small things make a big difference in games at this level, Krishnan, because everybody are equipped with the skill that is required to play international level. It's about how often you're able to be in the game and the awareness that you have, that where the game is going and where your team stands. That Australia nails it. every player in this side is so involved in the game, and their communication on the field, I can see that, suddenly someone has an idea, they are very quick to sort of express it or share it to the bowler, to the captain, the senior player. And we were talking in the commentary box, like, after the first break in the first ODI, when India was no loss and they were
Mhm.
really cruising at one point, they regrouped and they came back to thinking that, there's nothing wrong with our bowlers, but the wicket is flat, so
Mhm.
the fielders need to really support the bowlers. And then after the break, in 2 overs, we see a run out. So the game awareness, some of us do have that, but how do you translate it? They translate
Right.
that really well. And I think that's the difference. You quickly understand the situation and you change your plans to it, which other teams probably do understand that it's different, but the execution of the plans or the change of plans, they take a little while. And that's where I think Australia is ahead.
Yeah, certainly India can take confidence from the fact that they beat Australia at home after so many years. And also they came close to chasing that big total in the third ODI. So probably India
Yeah.
can take confidence into this World Cup and believe that they can beat Australia, and Australia is not unbeatable. So talking about your experiences in the World Cup, which has been the most memorable one, and which one you cherish the most?
Um, I think World Cup, say 2005, really
Mhm.
spoken about the semi-finals,
Right.
because um, that was so important. One is, of course, from the perspective was as a young captain. Um, I did have a lot of self-doubt if I could do a good job, because that was my first big assignment as a full-time captain for India, getting straight into the World Cup. Um, and then my own form, I was good, I was scoring runs, but I was also carrying an injury. Like, I got a tear just before the World Cup, a month before the World Cup, and grade 2, and I was struggling in that World Cup. So to score runs in the semi-finals against the defending champions, because New Zealand were the world champions
Right.
in 2000, and then to beat them in the semi-finals. And it was just not my innings. I did have partnerships with a couple of the batters, and when I walked out of the fielding innings, because again I dived on my knee and I had to walk out. But Anju Jain, who took over that innings, and the bowlers really did well to bundle them out. So it was a complete team effort, to sum it up. And it was the first time that India got through the knockouts,
Right.
like into the finals. Otherwise, I've always seen, whether it was 97 or 2000 World Cup, we reached the semis, and we would,
Yes.
that's where our journey ends in the World Cup. And 2017 also, of course, Harman's innings, we all talk about it. It required to beat Australia in the semi-finals, but until the semi-finals, there were players who started the World Cup well. Like Smriti started the World Cup well, but then she lost her form in the middle. Then Poonam Rawat all through the World Cup was able to get us runs. And then Veda and Harman started to score in the second leg of the tournament. But there were other girls like Ekta Best, Rajeshwari, or Sushma Verma, who've in those games which were pretty narrowly won, even against Pakistan. I think Sushma's innings, it might not be like 100, but
Yes.
that really got the team across. So all of them have pitched in at some point or the other, because as we've spoken, ODI World Cup is a little longer. So when does a player peaks and when does a team peaks is so important in a tournament like this.
Right. And to finish off your four semifinalists and the two finalists for this tournament, and who you think will be the X factor for Indian team?
The fourth semi-finalist would be Australia, England, um, South Africa, and India.
Mhm.
Um, and the two finalists, well, that I don't know. That would be on that given day, the knockouts, whoever plays the best. Um, and the X factor for India would be, It's pretty tough call because everybody have been doing well, whether we talk about batters or bowlers. Um, I would say I would pick an all-rounder, honestly, because of course we've known the batters have scored runs, and even if say top doesn't, there's middle order. And if we talk about bowling, spin has always been a go-to and a strength in the middle overs. So I would go with Deepthi, and I say that is because she gets both skills to the plate, whether as a batter in that middle order where she gets to play, especially those closing the games, and also with her ball because she's used in the power play, she's used in the middle overs, and she's also used in the death overs, and she gets a lot of experience. So I would pick up clearly because of her skill sets that she gets to the table. But otherwise, I think our seamers have done well. It's just like how do they bowl in a batting friendly wicket is a question because they're not out and out fast bowlers. They are seam bowlers. So if the condition supports them, they are unplayable. But if the condition doesn't, so that's where the challenge starts for them.
Right. So on that note, hopefully India become the fourth team to lift this World Cup after Australia, England, and New Zealand have done it in the previous World Cups. So thank you very much, Mitali, for some wonderful thoughts, and hopefully India lift the World Cup in the first week of November in Navi Mumbai's D.Y. Patil Stadium. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you.